friends, and welcome to the Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey podcast. I'm your host, Jamie, and I am so excited that you're here. Each week, I invite a girlfriend to join me on the show, and we chat about the big things in life, the little things in life, and everything in between. If this is your first time, welcome. If this is your 57th time, welcome back. Today, you're going to be listening to episode number 57, and today's guest is Logan Wolfram. Logan's a friend of mine who writes blogs and soon will even be a climber of mountains, and we'll chat about that today. I'm excited for you guys to listen to our conversation. We talk about everything from struggling to work out to struggling to maintain your identity as a mom. Logan's the executive director and host of Illume Conference, and Logan's first book is set to release in the spring of 2016. Today's sponsor for the Happy Hour is the She's Brave Conference. Nourish is proud to present the She's Brave Conference in 2016. Held in scenic uptown Charlotte, North Carolina, you'll have the opportunity to spend the weekend hearing from speakers like Mama Asterius, Glennon Doyle Melton, Proverbs 31, Lisa Allen, and writer-blogger Sarah May. They'll talk openly about the tough stuff, addiction, depression, infidelity, body image, jealousy, just to name a few. But we'll also laugh, have fun, and also getting to know each other in a judgment-free environment. Tickets are on sale now, and listeners for the Happy Hour will get 15% off with the code HAPPYHOUR. You can find more information on their website, www.nourishclt.com. Guys, thanks for listening. Here is my conversation with Logan. Hey, Logan. Welcome to the Happy Hour.
Hi. I'm so glad I'm here.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm disgusting right now.
Because you just worked out.
I just did a workout.
What did you do?
I'm going to call it a 1 because it was like a walk run.
Okay.
And I also feel like since I completed it, I did sort of win. So
good.
So, yeah, a walk run in the neighborhood. So
do you like time, like I'm going to walk for 30 seconds, run for a minute, or you just run until you need to stop?
No, I run until I feel like I might die. And then, which is like, half a block.
Right. Hey, everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
So, my friend Kat told me the other day, she was like, you just need to like set yourself goals to like run a little ways. I used to run long ago, back before like I had children and had, extra jiggling that happened. And something about that, like, it's just, like you just shouldn't feel yourself like your parts like moving. And so maybe that's what made me stop. I don't know, but
that's so funny.
I'm not like a worker outer though. Like I'm not someone that loves working out, but I've got goals.
I want to be that person that loves working out. Like the other day I put in a workout video and
Which
literally
you?
Oh my gosh. I talked about it with someone else on the show once a long time ago. It's you buy the whole program.
Did you do P90X?
Well, it's that same thing, but it's not that extreme.
Insanity? Is it like that?
Nope, not that insane. It's like, oh my gosh. You buy the powder and...
Oh, you're like committed.
No, I'm not. That's the whole point of the story. No, I bought the powder once. Anyhow, I'll think of it in a minute because that's going to drive me and everyone's crazy. But anyhow, I put the workout video in the other day, and I found myself 7 minutes into it sitting on the floor watching them. And I'm like, hey, Jamie, this does nothing for you. Like, I really was like watching the thing.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, the first time I've been trying to do P90X some, but today I thought I just want to go outside. And anyway, so the first day that I did it, like, he's like, okay, it was like 3 minutes in. He's like, okay, your muscles should be loose. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to die. And I haven't completed the warm-up.
That's how you know you might die, when you're supposed to be loose in the warm-up and you're about to die.
I looked at my husband and I was like, how long is this? And he was like, it's an hour. And
oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. And so he's like cheering me. And finally I was like, I'm going to need you to be quiet now. Like, I mean this for the health of our relationship. Like, please don't speak to me anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
We tried working out together. And then I just told him, I was like, I just really love you more when you're not speaking to me when I feel like I'm going to die.
See, you're trying to preserve your marriage.
Yeah, it is. There's things you have to do to be healthy like that. And it's not work out before you have coffee and,
Yes.
That's just like a new thing.
Okay, so the other thing that happened to me when I was working
you
out.
Whatever you have to do.
Yes, so after I realized I've been watching them work out for 7 minutes, I started watching someone periscoping, okay? So
Oh yeah.
my friend Jess Conley was like periscoping, so I'm like watching it,
Oh
and
yeah.
after
Hey,
she's done,
Jess. She's my
yeah,
friend too. She's so great.
she's so awesome. So after she's done, I think, well, I've been wanting to try this out. So I get on Periscope and I'm like pushing a bunch of buttons and like doing all kinds of stuff. And then the next thing I know, it says that I'm recording, and I'm like, what? So I push end real quick, like what just happened? And then Aaron called me and he's like, you were just live. Like everyone saw our carpet. And I'm like, what? I said, how did you know? And he's like, they told everybody. Like everybody knows. And so I'm just like, okay, great. Like, I don't know this, but I saw you Periscope this morning for the first time.
I did. I just did it for the first time this morning because I thought, oh man, like I'm doing this thing and I'm going to need some encouragement. And everyone keeps talking about it. And I'm just like, well, I should see what this is. And, whatever, if I look stupid or don't do it right, who cares? It's like the middle of the day and no one's, periscoping right now.
Right.
So I did it and it totally worked. And it was super fun. Like there's little hearts that come up and people are able to talk to you. So it feels like you can have a conversation with a whole bunch of people at one time, which is totally my jam. Like it just felt like, oh yeah, like we're just in a room, we're hanging out. And
yeah.
So it was really fun. So I took them on my
listen-
workout in my neighborhood.
Okay, so there are people listening and they're like, what is this Periscope you speak of?
Yeah.
Because this is kind of new, right? I mean,
yeah, like I read an article about it the other day because I heard about it. And so then I went and signed up for it because I thought, dang it, on Twitter, I can't get my name. Like I can't get Logan Wolfram.
Oh, uh-huh.
Someone
Which
has
is
had
random.
someone has literally had it tied up for like 4 years. Or 5 years. Like ever since I first signed up for Twitter, someone has like accosted my name and done nothing with it. So I even like have emailed to be like, can I have my name? Because no one is using it, and they haven't helped. So, hey, if you work for Twitter and you can help me get my name, like whoever it is misused and abused. And anyway, I'm nice and I would like it.
Okay, so tell me about why you're working out. Can we do that?
So I am going to be I'm going to hike Mount Kilimanjaro.
Which when you say that doesn't even my brain doesn't have a spot for that.
My brain doesn't have a spot for it either, which is probably why I'm making a spot for it in my brain. Because on some levels, I just don't really know what I'm getting myself into. But I was talking to my literary agent, Don, one day, and he was like, I totally want to introduce you to this gal, Belinda. Her name's Belinda Bowman. Anyway, her husband, Stephen, is the CEO of World Relief. And but Belinda started this thing that's separate called 1 Million Thumbprints. And so they were involved like at the Justice Conference, and it's this totally new like grassroots organization where it's women advocating for women around the globe who especially are in war-torn areas and zones and countries. And so we're talking places like Iraq, Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, like all this. And so the idea is to collect 1 million thumbprints from women all around the globe to basically stand in support and in solidarity to bring the voices of women in war-torn areas into peace discussions. And so that in most of these areas where there's like major militia violence and war, violence against women is used as a tactic to break down the entire society because it breaks down the family, it breaks down children. It becomes like this really disastrous thing. And so people are using it as a tool. And so 1 Million Thumbprints is going to be inviting women around the globe to summit something because these women are having to overcome like these major hard things. And so there's going to be a group of us that are actually going to summit Mount Kilimanjaro on March the 8th.
This is so crazy.
It's so cool. And so we're literally going to be collecting thumbprints. The goal is to get over 1 million people like with their thumbprint, like printing it on places in different areas. And they're looking at ways to be able to do it, because you don't want to like digitally be like sending a photograph of your thumbprint because, like hashtag identity theft. But anyway, so they're looking at ways that people can do it if they can't get to a location where they can actually do a thumbprint. And so, but the idea is to get over 1 million people involved in saying that they believe in ending violence against women around the globe. And so there will be challenges to summit something wherever you are on International Women's Day, which is March 8th. And so we will be hiking. It's so cool. So we will be hiking and summiting Mount Kilimanjaro with like banners containing all of those thumbprints. I get chills and get
Who's
weepy feeling.
we when you say that?
So it's
I
like
want
a
to
team
join
of
you.
women. It's a team of women. You can call Belinda. But there's a team of women. I don't even know any of them, but I know that Lynn Hybels has been a real encourager of Belinda, and that there's just like I don't know, like people.
When you say
there's like
team, how many?
I think that right now there may be like a dozen, and so and it's women from like just kind of different stuff. Like I legitimately don't know any of them. There's a couple of us that are writers. There's a gal from Christianity Today, and like I literally don't know them. I just honestly like I heard about it, and Dawn, my agent, had sent me. Belinda's writing a book called 1 Million Thumbprints about like what inspired this, and like she and Lynn Hybels had been in Democratic Republic of Congo, spoken to this woman named Esperance who shared her story, which was like, I mean, just horrific, the things that had happened to her. And she said, like, I want you to tell the world. I want you to tell the world that these things are happening to me. And she couldn't even write her own name. And so she signed her signature of permission with her thumbprint. And so that just made Belinda realize that, like, women around the globe, particularly ones that live in the kind of privilege that we do and have the opportunity that we do, we need to be able to stand with these women who are enduring like horrific violence and things, and be able to bring them into these like peace talks around the world. So anyway, so that's the thing. And
that's amazing.
Like I didn't exercise at all for like, so like, I mean, I want to say months so that people don't think that I'm like this total.
But
like,
what you really mean are,
what I mean is years,
like 36 months plus.
Yeah, like since before I had my last kid, who's 5. But like legitimately, I just thought, man, I mean, I heard about it. Dawn told me about it, and I was like, I want to talk to this chick. Like, I want to get on the phone with her, and I want to hear about it, and I want to do it. Like, and so Don had just said to me one day, he was like, hey, what'd you think about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro? And I was like, well, that's a crap ton of work. Like, that's humongous, dude. And so, anyway, it's like 20,000 feet. It's the highest freestanding mountain in at least Africa. I don't know if it is in the world or not, but like I was just in Colorado last week with my publisher, and I was looking, and I'm like, those mountains are like 14ers.
And they look
like they would dominate my face off. And this one is going to be even taller. And so they say the reason that people don't complete it is because primarily of altitude sickness. And I'm asthmatic. So honestly, like I'm really nervous about it because, I mean, I don't know if I can legitimately do it, but I'm sure as heck going to try.
Okay, well, if you hear they need any podcasters on the trip, you just put my name in there.
I totally will. You need to totally meet Belinda. Like, I'll introduce you.
I would love to meet her anyways.
It's a fun conversation anyway. Like,
I'd love to have her on my show.
Yeah, she's awesome. So
connect me. I'd love to have her.
I'll connect you. So,
anyway. Okay, let's just talk about climbing a mountain real quick. My brother has done this. And so when you told me this, I texted him and I'm like, I have a friend that's going to be doing this. I said, do you have any tips for her? Like, I'm thinking like, and all he said was like, bring something to cover your head and your neck. I was like, okay, well, I'll tell her.
I literally thought, I was like, the first thing that I have to do is I just put on my Facebook today, like, I need a personal trainer. So if anyone would like to donate personal training services for the virtual or in Greenville, South Carolina, I am accepting donations.
Hey, and you know that you are a whiz at Periscope, so you can do personal training via Periscope as well.
I know. And so that all like 12 people who follow me will be like, that's great, Logan.
Okay, so let's literally really talk about climbing a mountain. What does that actually look like? Do you know? I mean, they drop you off and then you're with guides, and then how long does this take? What happens if you can't make it? Like all those things.
So like I've watched some stuff, online to get, super prepared. And I've read a bunch of things about Mount Kilimanjaro, and from what I understand, like you start down at the bottom, which I'm assuming
obviously, right?
Like, yeah, the bottom of the mountain. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's sea level. I don't know if you're actually climbing 20,000 feet, but the whole thing, we're going to take like 6 days to do it. It's 45 miles in and out.
Oh my
and
gosh.
You go like, I think you go, and we're going in and out the same way. We're apparently not going on like the main travel route. I don't even know. But you have to go slowly, from what I understand, for Kilimanjaro, because the altitude increase will really make you super sick.
Like to
And
adjust your
so,
body.
yeah, like
Gotcha.
so from what I've read about it, it's like, when people scuba dive, I
Mm-hmm.
can't scuba dive because I'm asthmatic. And, like there's that thing where if you come up too fast, you get the bends or
Yep.
whatever it's called, where it basically like wrecks your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you can have the same opposite effect going up almost. So it can really mess up your lungs. You can get fluid in your lungs and all this stuff if you go too fast. And so everything I read said that a lot of times women have a better chance of even reaching the summit because guys get like all competitive and
And they're
try to
like,
beat
how
each other
fast
up
can we
the
get there?
mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, watch me dominate you.
Uh-huh.
And they can't. And so apparently what happens, like if you get super, super sick, then they can get you down, I guess, or you go down or something. But like my understanding is just that, I mean, if it's 45 miles in and you're taking 4 days to get in, then I guess you're hiking a dozen or so miles a day. Um, but honestly, like, I just really don't know, like, as much as I should. And sometimes I just really, truly feel that ignorance is bliss. Like, I woke up the other day and I thought, like, in the middle of the night, and I was laying there and I thought, are there like hyenas on Mount Kilimanjaro? Are there cougars? I read something about stampeding elephants. Like, I legitimately have no idea. I thought, am I going to be walking by like a pride of lions? I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm just so dang curious about it that like I just I don't know, like that is totally becoming the thing that is defining my life. It's just my curiosity for things, and um, so anyway, yeah,
Okay,
like
so the point of your
I don't
trip
know,
is bring awareness, obviously, and you're bringing
yeah,
the banner with thumbprints. Are you raising money or just raising
yeah.
awareness, or what's the end goal for you?
There, and I'm still learning these things too. But yes, there will be raising money to promote peaceable discussions with like some of these nations. They are connected with. They've got connections with the UN, and so there's definitely like. I mean, like I said, I'm still just like figuring all of this out. But yeah, the goal will be to be able to raise money to help create space for women to be involved in peace discussions in these war-torn nations, just because they're not enough right now. And so, and by being able to share these stories, it gives women a voice in that, in those discussions and ways to help eliminate it. And so, yeah, so that's the goal. And also, I mean, truth be known, like it's just been the last few years, just as I really started digging in, I think a lot of people in America have no clue what's going on around the world. Like you watch the news and it's just like this really calculated version of whatever story they want to tell. But like even when I've been in other places, I'm like half the time like the good stories aren't being told.
Mm-hmm.
And the individual stories aren't being told.
Yeah.
It's like this sort of collective thing. And so I feel like over the last few years, I've seen a lot more awareness just with human trafficking
Mm-hmm.
and just ways that people are treated in these underdeveloped nations. And I just think overall people are kind of waking up
Mm-hmm.
to say, like, there's a whole world outside of here, and they are not doing very well.
Right. Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah.
of them are not doing very well. And so I feel like I just kind of want to figure out what does it look like to be the hands and the feet. And so,
I love that. And the voice as well. I feel like so many times
yeah,
here in America, you could live your entire life somehow and not know that there are women around the world without voices. I mean, you really
yeah,
could get to the end of your world and know that. I think it's harder now for our generation to say they didn't know. But I think about like my grandma. If I told her some of these things, she'd be like, "This, I have never even thought about this."
right,
It would
right.
never even have crossed her mind.
I think there's so many times like where, your ignorance, I mean, your ignorance can be your bliss, but then once you realize something, once you recognize something too, I feel like you have a responsibility to do something about it. And I think with just sort of the advent of social media and everything, you can't say you don't know. Like at some point, if you go on the internet at all, which I'm assuming everyone here does because they're listening
They're
to a
listening to a
podcast,
podcast, right?
wah if you're like on the internet, if you're hearing about these things, at some point the question becomes, what am I going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I just feel like, I'm just going to figure it out. Like, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure as heck going to do something to figure it out. And so I'm still figuring it out, but this is the first time that I feel like, I don't know, like, I went to Bangladesh a couple of years ago with Food for the Hungry, and I went to Uganda last year with Soul Hope. And then you were there. I was supposed to be there this year, but then I moved like a week in advance, and that would have been crazy. So, I feel like the more I see, the more I'm like, God, there's just endless options of ways that we can use our voice. And you can't just pretend that you don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And if you're pretending, then that's like your whole internal issue that like I cannot even help you know what to do with that. But I do think at some point you have to ask yourself the question, do I care? And if you don't, then why not? So that's what I feel like.
I remember a couple of years ago, a girl in town who works for an organization that deals with women who have been trafficked and helping them get back on their feet after they've been trafficked, helping them lead the life. And she took a group of us around for a day around Austin and showed us different brothels in our city. And it was the first time that I had really been exposed to that. And I got out of the car, and with tears in my eyes, I looked at her and I said, I wish I would have never come on this trip today. Because now I know. And so now that I knew, there's no way I could go back to my house and just be like, oh, I that didn't really happen, Right. And so it doesn't always mean, I want women to hear too, like you're doing this for that. And because social media, we are inundated all the time with needs and all this kind of stuff. So you can't go throughout life without knowing, but sometimes you feel like, there's so much. What do I do? And I think sometimes when you hear something, you're like, this is not where I feel like I'm going to like step in, and I'm not going to go to Uganda, or I'm not going to go here. But you can still like talk about it and acknowledge it. That's what I think is key, is acknowledging it.
I think acknowledging it is huge, and figuring out what can you do. Like, as far as we'll take Uganda because you said Uganda, but like not everybody's going to go to Uganda. Not everybody wants to. But I think, like everybody has a pair of fat jeans, so just cut that stuff up and like make some shoes, or
I have
like
a lot of skinny jeans.
On a skinny jeans.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you got some jeans that aren't fitting somewhere, sister. Like,
yep. And I'm holding on to them, like they're still in my closet.
Pair of jeans, then some of them are not fitting. I'm guessing. So, so I think it's just figuring out what can you do. Can you be aware? Can you support? Like, can you use your voice in a way that is like bringing just acknowledgement? But I also think that people tend to like spread themselves too thin. And so you got to pick like what you can do and pick what your family can handle. And, I have a really dear friend, her name's Laura Parker, and she and her husband run something called the Exodus Road. Do you know her?
No, but I've heard,
I need to introduce you to her.
Introduce me to her as well.
Yeah, we grew up together. Like, literally, she was one of my best friends since I was like 5. And they are in Southeast Asia doing this like crazy like busting up of sex trafficking rings and all of this
stuff. What's her husband's name?
Matt Parker. It's called the Exodus Road.
I feel like are they on Instagram?
Yeah, they are.
I feel like I follow them somehow. Keep going.
Their logo looks like an eye, like an eye of your head, that has like the outline of like a person in it. Anyway.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
The Exodus Road. I follow them.
Yeah. So she's like a really, that's them.
I follow them on Instagram. She's
a really good friend of mine. But, she and I were talking, we totally support them. Like, we financially support them, like, totally support them. But, like, they'd asked me about coming, there a couple of years ago. And it was something, my kids are really little. And it was just something that I felt like my kids aren't going to be able to understand yet. And I can't explain to them yet, like, why mommy is going and where I'm going. And so we just made the decision that like it wasn't the right time for our family to be able to do that. Plus I have boys. And so even talking to boys about that, it's like just a whole different kind of direction and discussion. And so I think it's something, one day I'd love to be able to do that in that way. But like we have to figure out different ways that we can support different things and what works for our family to be like missional together. And so so I think you've got to figure out what are the things that are your heartbeat and like, what are not. And like, if that's not your heartbeat, then don't do it. Like,
that is.
Do something else. If you love to cook, like go work in the soup kitchen. Like,
what's happened with me, like personally, I mean, you're on the board for Soul Hope, and I had Asher on my show before I left, and then I went to Soul Hope. So I've done a lot of talking about it on my show, and I've had so many people host shoe parties.
Yeah.
Just from that. And they're never going to get on a plane and go to Uganda. You know, they're never going to set foot in Jinja, but they are making a huge difference in their living room with their girlfriends.
Well, and the fact of the matter is there's no less version of
Right.
involvement.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally just like different versions of it, and different people have capacity for different things. And so, like, don't shove your own self into somebody else's denim Soul Hope shoes. You know, like, wear your own pair.
Yeah.
Wear your own and figure out what it is that you want to do, and you know how you can do it and stuff. So
okay, I am
look
so
at us having all these deep conversations about like changing the world. And
I know. Okay, I am so excited about following your journey to the mount. To the mount. You need to have, you need a hashtag for what's going, like, that is going to chronicle your, like, working out, getting thumbprints, everything.
I know. I do. My son the other day, like, I was making breakfast, and I was standing, like, our microwave is right near my office. Like, I have steps that go up. My office is like over our garage, and there's just a separate set of steps that go up there. And so I pressed this thing, like, to make oatmeal. And I'm like, I got a minute and a half. And I thought, I'm right by these stairs. I should, like, run up and down the stairs. And so I did it. And I was like, yeah, microwave mania, baby.
You're going to have a new workout video.
I made a hashtag microwave mania, and I was like, yeah, for the mama who is like trying to get real about her fitness.
There
like,
you go.
What can you do in the time it takes to make a bowl of oatmeal? You know, I thought the ultimate goal is when I can cook a Stouffer's lasagna in the microwave.
And run up and down.
Dominate the whole time, yeah.
Okay, can I just say this too, that your boys are going to be like, my mom is like a bad A. Like, she is, like, when you finish this task.
Or they're going to think I'm a nut job.
No, they're going to be like, they may not comprehend it now. How old is your oldest?
9. He kind of gets it.
And your youngest is how old?
5.
Just wait till they're like, I mean, even when they just get a little older, they're just going to be like, Mom, I can't believe you did that. That's amazing.
You know, it's fun because I have these memories, and I wrote about it in my book. I have a book.
I know. I want to talk about that too next.
But I totally wrote about it in there because I have these memories of my great-grandmother who was, like, in my opinion, to use your term, a bad A.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I didn't say the whole word if you're listening.
You didn't.
Yeah.
O-H-E double hockey stick.
Right.
Anyway, so, but I have these memories of her when I mean, she was like in her 80s, and my sister and I used to go spend the night with her whenever we would go to Florida and visit. And she had like, I mean, if you're not into taxidermy people, like, I'm so sorry, please don't think ill of us. But like, we're taxidermy people in my family. And so, but you live in Texas, so there's definitely going to be more like graciousness for that. But if you're tuning in from California,
sorry for
like,
the dead animals all over the wall.
Yeah, like whatever, NRA or something. I don't know. But anyway, so, but my great grandfather was like a big game hunter, like back in the day. And so he went like on safari in Africa. And so she had like a zebra skin. She had elephant tusks back before it was like illegal, you know, to do that. I remember there was like an otter skin that was like draped across the bed. And there was something just super exotic about her. And she would show my sister and I these slides. Like when we were little kids, we would sit on her floor on the zebra skin rug with a bunch of pillows, and we would watch like a slide projector, and she would show us these slides. And I remember seeing her like on a camel in Morocco. And my mom said, we were talking about it one day, and she said, my great grandmother brought water back from the Jordan River when she had gone, and I was like christened in it. I mean, how cool is that? I know, like the life of ministry ahead of me was begun with the christening of the Jordan River.
Yep.
So anyway, and so I just remember her in that way. And I remember thinking that about her. I remember thinking, like, what an adventure, like what a life, you know? And so when we went to Uganda, when I went last year, did y'all go to the Nile River camp when you went?
We went down the Nile. I mean,
okay. Oh, you went on the boat. We
went
on the last day and stayed at this place, this Nile River camp, and there was a like a rope swing and
into the Nile,
which they probably. I did it.
There's like crocodiles in there.
I know. I was seriously the whole time thinking like Steve Irwin died probably from like all I could think about was that. And then
was your husband with you?
No.
Oh, so you had to tell him that you made this decision that could
Yeah,
have
and I also had to explain to him that probably the reason I had diarrhea for 9 months
was because of that same move.
the bacteria.
Right. They tell you not even to get in it.
I eventually had to do like a cleanse. This is way TMI for everybody, but like, there's sometimes that you're just like, I mean, you don't actually think that will happen to you. I think maybe, but
Of course not.
like, I just decided, I mean, it's like the Nile River.
What?
Like, didn't you just feel like we're on the Nile River? Like the one Jesus, like, was there, and the one Moses turned to blood. And like, all I could think about was like, this is the Nile River, dude. I'm like jumping in it.
You're way, way, way better than me because I didn't think about any of that.
I really thought I was going to die. Like, I thought there's probably like fish with large teeth. I've never scrambled out of something so big. And then I just felt like maybe I was a wuss because I only did it once. And I did it 3 or 4 times. And then I was like, okay, that's good.
So you have a good story to tell.
Yeah. So that's what I figure is like, I just want for my life to read to people way down the road, like something motivated her to do this stuff. And it wasn't just like, I don't know, that it mattered, like that it mattered for something, So
I think about like as a mom, I want my kids to look at me and think that. And I always talk to new moms. Like because I feel like a lot of times what happens with moms, they live this life of like serving and giving and adventure, and then they have kids, and then they feel like, well, for the next 18, 20, 25, whatever, however many years,
you lose yourself.
I lose it, and now I'm just home with the kids. But I want to look at them and see like, you didn't lose anything. Like the same Jesus is still in you. The same people still are needy around you. Nobody left. And so you still have that opportunity to be that same person. Does it look different? Yes. I can't go to Uganda every 6 months,
Right.
But I can still leave my kids and go across the world.
Well, and I think it takes a little bit too, like, when your kids are like little, I mean, you are just barely surviving.
You feel like if I can get to 7:30 at night, it's a
you're
win.
Seriously so exhausted that like, you just can hardly figure it out. I mean, I remember, when you first have a baby, I feel like the first 6 weeks or so, you have like no clue what's happening in your life. Like It just feels like this complete fog. And I think that my kids are almost 4 years apart. But like, there's just this period of time where when you have like little people who need everything from you, you've got to figure out like, it looks different in that season. And that is okay and should be like, like you've got to figure out what you can load on and what you can offload and be realistic about it, because I mean, ain't nobody got time for crazy things.
Nope.
You're just trying to like eat and sleep and survive.
That's right. That's right. Hey friends, before we continue with the interview, I wanted to break in and mention a great way to support the Happy Hour podcast. If you've listened to even one episode, you'll know that I love reading books. Not only that, but the women I interview always have a handful of books that are great recommendations for you. Now, instead of trying to scramble to write down the names of the books as you're on the treadmill or driving to work, or even trying to remember to go to my blog for the show notes, there's a simple destination that you can remember. Here it is. Listen close. JamieIvey.com/happyhourbooks. How easy is that? I've created a one-stop place for all of the book recommendations that you hear on the podcast. So say you miss a couple episodes, but you're still in the mood for a great read, bookmark JamieIvey.com/happyhourbooks, and you can always check out the recommendations there. But here's the best part. If you find a book that you like from that link, it gets you a great read, but it also helps out the Happy Hour podcast earn a small commission from that sale. Remember, that's JamieIvey.com/happyhourbooks. Now back to the interview. Okay, so you have a book.
I do. I have a book. I wrote a book.
You wrote a book.
Oh my gosh.
When does said book release?
Said book releases in March 2016. March 1st. Said book releases while I'm hiking Kilimanjaro.
I was going to say, that is amazing.
Which some people are like, that is like maybe a suicide mission, Logan, for like a book release. And then I just told my publisher, I was like, listen, my book is called Curious Faith, Rediscovering Hope in the God of Possibility. And I was like, you can't write a book like that and then expect me to like, I don't know, just want to do like a couple random radio interviews like that week. Like, if something comes up like this, you can't write a book called Curious Faith and be like, oh, I had the coolest opportunity that would like push me beyond anything I've ever done before.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm just not going to do it. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. And so I feel like that it's just become kind of just a definer of my life, and a definer of me is just my curiosity to see more of God and all of the things around me. And so I told my publisher, said, why do you want to do this? Anyway, because, you have to explain these things to your publisher. If you say like, hey, I'd like to be in Africa when my book releases, because apparently there's work to do.
Right.
When you release a book. And so they said, why do you want to do it? And I was like, well, I'm curious about who I have to become to do it. And I'm just really curious about who I'll be after. Like, and so, and I don't know, like, I don't have these ideas about things. I know I have to become an exerciser to do it. So like, that's a thing, which for me holds great levels of like overcoming just mentally. And I'm really curious who I'll be after. So because before we go hike Kilimanjaro, we're going to go to the Congo and be speaking with women who have suffered from these things. So like, it will be so fresh in my brain and in my heart that like, I think by the time we start climbing that mountain, like it will just, I don't know. I just can't imagine that it won't change me in all the ways,
Yeah. And it's like, you'll also have, not like you don't have a purpose now or a mission or a reason, because you've explained it all to me. You already know the purpose, but before you start, you actually get to look at someone in their eyes.
Yeah.
And touch
and
their
it's like,
hands.
I am doing this
for you
because I care about you. Yeah. And so, I just think, I don't know. I just feel like, how can I not do that? And
So your book comes out March 1st.
It comes out March 1st.
And tell me how you got to this book. Like, what's it about? How'd you get here?
Like, I don't even know. Like, it's all so random. I mean, I know what the book is about. But how I got here is just sort of absurd. I never meant to be a writer. And I started running Illume, the Christian Women's Blogging and Social Media Conference. It's in October. So if people want to come, they can totally come. We still have a few tickets now. And anyway, so I've been doing that like the last few years. That happened super randomly. I got to know Sarah Mae. It's like a really long story, but the short version is I got to know her very randomly and helped her after we kind of got to be friends, because I had done a study on a book that she did, that she wrote called 31 Days to Clean, How to Have Martha Home the Merry Way. I mean, it was totally like unrelated, but the Lord connected us, and we got to be friends. And so after I went to the conference, it used to be called the Relevant Conference, and after I went the first year, she just asked me what I thought, and I was like, well, I mean, the content I thought was very useful and helpful, and, I don't know a ton about blogging, but it was helpful, but the food was nasty, and like, it's a women's conference. You didn't even put a tablecloth on the registration table. And like, these things matter to me. I used to be an interior decorator. And so like,
so you see the details.
Yeah. Like, I noticed that stuff, and it speaks to my heart. Like, creating an environment that is welcoming is like just kind of a passion I have. And so, anyway, she was like, oh, well, I didn't even know what was going to be on the menu. I just gave them my budget. And so I was like, well, you can't do that. Like, there wasn't even green vegetables, and girls like to eat salads and stuff. And so, anyway, she asked me if I would help her the next year, and kind of the rest is history. But I ended up taking over the conference when she sat it down, and I like kind of started writing, but just really super infrequently on a blog, because it's like the cobbler whose kids don't have shoes. Like, if you run a blogging conference, you don't really blog very well. And so, anyway, I don't know, like, I spoke at the conference in 2012, because I told Sarah Mae, I'd never done anything like that before either. And I told Sarah Mae, I was like, I feel like the Lord just gave me this word about like blogging and social media in general. And it was really just that, in all of social media, there's like this button that you can press that says follow me. And so I just really felt convicted about it, because I was like, hey, like, Jesus said that, and so if we're asking people to follow us, then we got to figure out where we're going. Like, it can't just be this self-aggrandizing sort of thing where we just have like an ego trip with like all the followers and whatever. And so, so I shared about that year. Like, I just was like, I've never spoken or done anything. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I just feel like that this is a word that needs to be said into this space. And so, so this gal, Lindsay Nobles, hello, you're Yeah, so Lindsay was there that year. And I guess it was with I guess she was with Food for the Hungry at the time. Anyway, Lindsay and I got to be friends, and she was like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my friend Dawn, who is now my literary agent." So, like, Lindsay Nobles, I have to like.
To thank.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, Lindsay Nobles deserves like her own line and like book acknowledgments because she, it's so weird when people see something in you that you don't see in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's one of those people that does that. Like, she calls out the gold in people,
That's great.
And so she introduced me to Dawn, and so
I'm going to tell her all this too. I'm seeing her Wednesday night for dinner with some friends, so
uh,
I'll tell her.
that. I hadn't talked to her in a while, but um, so anyways, she introduced me to Dawn, and he was like, "Hey, we talked for a long time," and he was like, "I would just really love to sign you," and I was like, "Well, like for what?" And he was like, to write a book, and I was like, "Oh, well, I've never thought about that before." And so anyway, I was just like, I mean, okay, but I don't have a plan for anything right now. And he said, well, I think you've got something to say and I want to be around when you do. So I was signed with him for like over 2 years before I
Oh,
even,
wow. I didn't realize that.
yeah, and so he like from time to time be like, hey, have you thought about writing a book? And I'd be like, no. And so it really came to me when, like, I was watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory one day. We should all be thankful that there's people called editors because otherwise my book would have been called God is Like Willy Wonka, which would have not really worked with the content at all. But
Oh my
anyway,
gosh. It would look good on a shelf though, I'll tell you that.
oh my gosh, I know, like purple hat candy bars.
Yeah.
I still was like, can I send candy bars to people like Wonka bars with a golden
Gold
ticket?
wrapper. Yeah.
Advance copies, like if you sign up to help. So that might actually be a thing anyway. But and so I was watching the movie, which is like one of my favorites, not the creepy Johnny Depp one, but like the old Gene Wilder one, and so I was just loving it because hashtag Chocolate River.
Right.
Like,
We want to. I'd jump in that instead of the
like I'm
Nile.
saying hashtag because I just think hashtags are ridiculous and hilarious. So anyway, so I was watching it and I was thinking about like all these kids that are like getting the boot from this thing, and it's like because they're too self-absorbed, because they're prideful, because they're gluttonous, because they're impatient, like, and there's all these things. And so suddenly I just realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the kid that wins the keys to the kingdom, the kid that presses the button to go wherever he wants in the great glass elevator is humble and he is real curious. And so like that was literally, it was like the Lord just gave me this word about curiosity. And with regards to like Willy Wonka, I mean, he's like this great inventor that is like making full meal gum and the everlasting gobstopper and chocolate rivers and all this stuff. And I thought, isn't God just that way? Like, isn't God just so great, and his plans are so far beyond what we could have imagined that on some level we just need to be curious about what it is that he has for us. And so as I really started like writing the book and stuff, I realized that in order to be curious in my own life, like I've had to overcome a significant amount of brokenness. And I think, that the world, I read something yesterday, I made a graphic of it, but it was talking about how the world will break you. And I think, I mean, how old are you? We're about the same age, right? I'm 37.
I think I might be 37.
Okay.
What year were you born?
I just turned 37 last week.
And you were born in what year?
Because I had to double check. 78.
Me too. I'm 37 then.
Okay. So, anyway, I know, like I forgot.
I really am. Sometimes I'm just like,
I know.
37 and 36, I can't remember what I am.
I couldn't either. So
but I'm 37 with you.
I did check the other day when it was my birthday. I was like, I'm fairly certain I'm 37. But anyways, I think by the time you're our age, by the time really you're like late 20s, suddenly like you're so hopeful for so long, and you've got these ideas about how you're going to change the world and all this stuff. And then the world just like crushes the heck out of you. Like, your marriage doesn't look the way you thought it would. You lose babies, friends have adoptions fall through, parents die, people you care about have affairs. I mean, like there is some nasty junk that happens by the time you're 37.
Yep.
And so I just really realized like that it is just totally the desire of the enemy to steal, kill, and destroy. And he will do whatever he has to do to do that. But I read something recently. I don't even remember what it was, but it was, he doesn't come for your stuff. He comes for your faith. And so, like, I want to be a bad A, like you said. Like, I want to be a bad A for Jesus. Like, and so I just feel like that there's this rebellious streak that is in me somewhere in there. Like, I'm like a good girl with a rebellious streak. And so, so anyways, I was thinking about it, and that makes me mad. Like, I feel like, no, you don't get my faith. Like, you may take everything else, but you don't get that. Like, that is not something that you can have. And so, so I think that I just realized that if that is who God is calling me to be, and if the cross is where I set my sights, then nothing can, I mean, and this is terrifying to say, and I get really scared saying it out loud, nothing can break me that the cross can't redeem. And so what I realized, though, is that if I'm going to really believe that, then it means that there's always hope, because with everything, God is possible. And it means that because of that, I can always be curious about what God has for me. Like, I can always, curiosity for me is a movement towards hope. And so, so that's what the book is about.
I'm like, I want to read it right now.
Well, you can. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay, I cannot wait. Do you talk about the Willy Wonka, how you came to that in the book? Yeah. Okay, good, because that was really good.
I do. Thank you. So, I mean, but aren't you glad it's not called God is like Willy Wonka?
I think that you have smart people on your team.
I think I do. So, thankfully, I did come up with the title Curious Faith, too. Like, that was me.
I love it. What's the tagline underneath?
Rediscovering hope in the God of possibility.
Okay, I like that.
So, and I like the rediscovering, because I think it's easy to lose, you know? So,
yeah.
So, yeah. So
I can't wait.
You know, so that's why it matters that I'm like climbing a freaking ginormous mountain.
While your book comes out. I think that's great. It totally goes along with your whole message.
Yeah. Like, it forces me to have to, like, do it.
Yeah.
And so somebody was like, well, people think that's a publicity stunt. I was like, well, it's not. Like, it's not. It just happens to, like, line up. And it just, I mean, I just think there's even a section, like, I mean, that I wrote months ago about journeying, and that, like, I watched a documentary on Mount Everest, and it was about people summiting, you know, the mountain, and no one can ever stay at the summit for long because they actually can't breathe up there. Like, the air quality is such that they can only be up there for, like, seconds. Yeah. And so I was just thinking about, even when people do this stuff, like the journey that they talk about is life on the side of the mountain. I wrote about that, like, before you even knew you were doing this. I knew about this, like, and so I just felt like it just, my friend Sarah Haggerty says, like, it's like just kisses from the Lord, like these sweet nuggets that he gives you, like just a hug that's like, hey, this is, I see you. And so I'm literally going to have to figure out, what does it look like to push through life on the side of this, like,
like literally
ginormous, scary, like elephant stampeding kind of mountain. Like,
I'm
I don't
so
even
excited about this for you.
Thank you. So maybe I can come and visit with you again afterwards.
Yes, and I do. You have to come on after to talk about it.
Yeah, I totally will. I think that would be really fun. So
that would be a lot of fun.
Because I might be, like, physically a disaster.
You'll be great.
I'm not going to jump any gross rivers this time.
Great. Did I tell you what I asked my guests about 3 things they're loving?
Oh, you did. You did.
Okay,
you mentioned.
Yeah. Okay, what are 3 things you're loving right now?
Okay. This is super fun. So there's this book, I'm going to show it to you, that I've been reading. My friend Erica Morrison told me about it. It's called Telling the Truth by Frederick Buechner.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
You love it?
So good. It, like, I'm not even done with it yet, but it really takes the gospel and it puts it into this, like, really, vibrant sort of story, and it just is it says the gospel is tragedy, comedy, and fairy tale. His writing is freaking amazing. Like, he starts talking about Pontius Pilate at some point, and, like, what his life would have looked like the day before he had to, you know, give the order that Jesus was going to be crucified, and he's just talking about, like, and he wakes up and he comes down and he has breakfast and he's in a foul mood because he's trying to quit smoking, and it's like this super bizarre, like, kind of look at him, but the way that he personifies
Uh-huh.
like these people, you know, the way that he brings life to them is really incredible. And the writing is just beautiful. So
Okay.
that's been a favorite. And then can I give another book and it can still count as like one?
Yeah, sure. You can do whatever you want.
So, my friend Sarah Haggerty, she's like, she always says my love language is resources. And so she sent me a book like months and months ago called At the Still Point. And it is a collection of literary works, like poems and like from stuff like actual great literary like books and
Okay.
poetry and history and all of this stuff, just a collection of that stuff that points towards God. It's not all like Christian stuff,
Right.
but
Right.
it's these things that just, I don't know, like it just draws your heart in a really cool way. And so I do those a lot, like when I'm doing devotions and
I
stuff,
love
because
that.
it's just a whole other medium. And as a writer, like I'm getting used to saying that about
Uh-huh.
myself,
Uh-huh.
it's just really beautiful to be able to sort of like soak in a beautiful work that
Yeah.
someone has done. So anyway, so those are a couple of favorite things. Another favorite thing that I have, so my girlfriends and I can I tell you about this thing
Oh
that we
yeah,
do?
yeah, yeah. Tell me, tell me.
So, and I'll hurry because I don't know how much time we have. But so my girlfriends and I do this thing called favorite things. And at Christmas, we realized like a few years ago, we all like love to give each other a Christmas present, but like trying to figure out something different for everybody, you know, it's tricky. And so my friend Julie told me about this thing that she and her girlfriends do. So we started it and we call it favorite things. And so we get together and we go out like, we pick a night. We always do it the first weekend in December because we're like, we just need to have like a set
And
date.
that's what it
That's
is.
when we're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So we, the last couple of years, we've gotten a hotel room in downtown Greenville and we all go spend the night and we all bring some of our favorite things from the year for each other. So there's like 7 of us. So I bring like 6 of whatever my favorite things
Oh,
are. And it
fun.
could be anything. Like it could be your favorite scripture that maybe you print on a cool piece of
Uh-huh.
paper. It could be like your favorite soap. We've done like I gave my favorite toothpaste a few years ago, which is Aquafresh Extreme Clean for the record.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, just so you know, so minty and fresh and great. And so we just do that like every year. And so we start thinking like the whole year
That is so
about like what
fun.
the favorite things are. And so like my friend Katie made us her favorite salted caramels. Like so it can be anything. There's no price limit, high or low. It can be something homemade. It can just be anything that you want.
And how many
So there's
favorite things?
however many you want. It's
Oh,
totally up to you. So like usually we do, I would say most of us do like 3 or 4 because some of them are really cheap. Some of them it's like, you know, toothpaste
right.
or
Yeah.
it's a verse
Uh-huh.
or, you know, whatever. Like, and then sometimes like a few years ago, a couple years ago, I did one of my all-time favorite things. They're called Goody Goody Bonbons and they are slippers that
Slippers.
you need to look them up. They're like the most ridiculous, hilarious things you've ever seen. Goody Goody
Sounds
Bonbons.
like a food. I thought it was like a
I know.
chocolate.
They're like these silken looking slippers and they have the most enormous, ridiculous flowers on them. And they're all different. You need to
That's
Google it.
hilarious.
So Goody Goody Bonbons, that's
Okay.
like one of my favorite things. And then we can just count that as number 2
So
because
number
it's
one is
like
your books. Number
number
two
1 is
is
those
your girls'
books.
weekend.
Because you said it has a favorite thing that I'm reading right now, right?
Yeah.
So the girls' weekend favorite things, like that whole thing is one of my
I
most
love
favorite.
that. Yes.
Like the favorite things is a favorite thing itself.
I love it.
And so, but and the Goody Goody Bonbons were in there. But one other like favorite thing presently, I mean, I have so many favorite things. I'm just like a person that like loves to have my favorites. Anyways, my favorite mascara
Oh, I like this. I need
is
good mascara.
this is good. It's $30, which made me
Mm.
want to throw up the first
Mm-hmm.
few times that I did
Mm-hmm.
it. But then I realized I really like it, and my sister gave it to me a couple times, so I felt like, well, she gave it to me twice, so that means that's like I've basically
You
spread my
saved. Yeah.
investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's called Trish McAvoy Lash Curling Mascara. And what I love about it, I have to order it online because we don't have like a Trish McAvoy counter here.
Uh-huh.
Um, what I love about it is that like it comes off really easily. It doesn't leave residue like under
Yes.
your eyes.
Uh-huh.
And so when you wash your face, it feels super bizarre. Like don't do it in the bathtub or like clumps end up stuck on the side of the bathroom. But in the shower, you literally can like grab your eyelash and you pull it off and it looks like you're pulling off your eyelashes. It makes these like weird tubes.
But it's not really your eyelashes. It's just the
No,
mascara.
it's literally like the mascara almost makes like a tube around your eyelash. And so it just comes off like super, super clean.
I love that.
But if you cry or whatever, like you can just kind of dab
Uh-huh.
and it stays on. It doesn't ever flake off. It just comes off in these like giant globs.
I love it.
So it's super great. So
I went
that's
through a stage last year where I was getting eyelashes put on, and it was my most favorite thing ever. Like I still sometimes look at Aaron, and it felt like I couldn't keep it in the budget. It didn't seem fair that I'm spending this much money a month to have eyelashes, you know?
right. Yes. Yeah.
But I love them so much that literally
Are you like one of the people, if you were on Survivor, that it would be like, you know, or if you had to be somewhere and you could only have one article of makeup, would yours be mascara?
oh, I'd get the eyelashes put in. Skip the mascara.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Because
that
when I
would
had my
fair.
lashes, I didn't wear mascara for like 2 or 3 months, and your eyes look amazing.
But they stay on for that long?
You
For
have
like
to-
2 or 3 months?
Well, no, you got them filled the first time. It's like nails, kind of. And then every 3 to 4 weeks, you get them refilled.
How long does it take to do it?
The refill is about 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. Huh. I've heard about it.
It is
I've heard
the
about it.
best.
So there's a blog that I like to read sometimes called Jones Design Company. Do you know her, Emily?
She was on my show, Emily Left.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she's where I first like saw someone raving and raving about eyelashes because I think it's a thing for her too.
I
So,
loved Emily. She's,
yeah.
I guess she was here this spring or this summer, early
Yeah,
something.
she
Yeah.
spoke at Illum a couple of years
She's
ago.
great.
Anyway,
So-
so yeah, first heard about that.
Speaking of Illume, we didn't talk that much about it, but when this airs, it'll literally be like the next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And can I tell
I
you,
guess-
I'm really, really, really excited to come.
I'm super, super excited for you to come. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's cool every year. It's super different every single year. And I like that. So somebody said to me one time, like, you really should figure out how to like, you know, I mean, I feel like we're consistent in things, but like, I just asked the Lord for kind of like a different word and a different direction every year. And so it's really fun to sort of have that like fluidity
It's good.
happening. So
It's good.
yeah, we probably won't still have tickets by the time.
Probably
this
not.
comes
Yeah.
out. But if we do, like, you should buy them and come.
Come
and
on. Yeah.
sing- yeah.
And I'm excited because
Sing
I'm
Greenbelt.
doing a breakout on podcasting, which I feel like I need to personally tell you right now that I have talked to a couple people and it's been recorded, so it's out there. And I've been like, I don't know why Logan asked me. Like, I feel like I don't know anything. And then, like, I'll tell Aaron, and he's like, Jamie, you know a lot. You have a great show. Stop saying that. I'm like, I know. I just, like, you know, you think, like, so I want to personally
I don't
tell
even
you
know.
that I'm prepared for this. You have not brought in a hack.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Because, you know, I was
you were
thinking
worried.
there was a possibility. No, I mean, I wouldn't even know how to begin to do a podcast. I think I would really like it because seriously, like you said to me, you were like, oh, yeah, I've got like a few interviews I'm doing this week. And I was like, so basically you just get to talk on the phone with
It's
your
the
friends
best.
and
It's the
like
best.
people get to hang out and listen. And I think that's kind of awesome.
Podcasting is
So-
by far the best thing I've ever done.
I would love it, but there's like this technological component. My husband calls me a technological troglodyte,
Yeah.
which I had to look up what that meant, but it basically means like a caveman.
Yeah. I will say the technical, that's what kept me away from it for so long, but I just kind of jumped in, and I'm going to talk to
Now
people
you're
at
right.
Loom about that too. Yeah. So there you go.
Now you're doing it. You're
Yes.
dominating. Well, I can't wait for you to come and see my fair city of
I'm
Greenville,
so
South
excited.
Carolina.
So excited.
Have you been here before?
No.
It's a really cool city.
No, I haven't.
It's a super, super fun city. And the hotel for Loom is like right downtown. And so we'll pick you up because you're a speaker, so we'll pick you up. But you literally don't even need a car. You walk out of the hotel and it's all on Main Street, Greenville, which has been written up in like
Oh,
Garden
I
and
love
Gun,
that.
which is a great magazine. If you don't know about it, Garden and Gun, that's another favorite
Okay.
thing. But it's just a super fun city. There's tons of awesome like food. We've been written up in Southern Living for like a
I
foodie
love good
town.
food.
Oh, girl, we got some good food,
I'll be
and we have
ready.
good food at Loom too.
Good.
because I'm a foodie, and
Because you're in charge of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I keep my finger stuck in the pie of
Good.
the choices.
Good. Good.
Anyway.
Okay. Listen, Logan, thanks for coming
What?
on the happy hour.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Guys, wasn't that fun? Logan is such a blast, and I'm so glad that you guys got to listen in on our conversation. Remember, everything that we chatted about will be up on my website, jamieivey.com, and any books we mentioned you can find at jamieivey.com/happyhourbooks. Guys, thank you so much for listening and sharing with your friends. Every single week, I get the best messages from you guys on social media telling me how much you're encouraged by the happy hour. And I will say this every single time I make a show. That is why I do this show. I want you to have fun. I want you to laugh. But more than anything, I want you to leave encouraged and inspired. I want to say thanks to Knox McCoy for producing and editing this show today. I want you guys to have a great week. Share with me where you're listening to the happy hour. Tag me in your Instagram photos. I just saw one this morning of someone out like working horses and listening to the show. How fun is that? And she said the horse loved the show too. That was great. Show me where you're listening. Tag me and I'll really smile and act like I was there with you. Have a great week, and I will see you next week with my friend Jaleesa McCreary. And after that, Vivian Mambani will be joining me, Jillian Lauren, Monica Swanson's coming up. Lots of fun episodes coming up. And so, guys, have a great week, and I will see you next time.